What does it take to enter a pulling contest? Special equipment? Mechanical ability? Nerves of steel?
My dad's truck, really, to be honest, and my first time out, so I thought, what the heck.
Okay, not so hard then.
What is pulling? It's the only motorsport measured in inches. Pulling involves tractors and trucks hitched to a special sled with a moving weight box. The goal is to haul the sled as far as possible before the shifting weight pulls it to a stop. The longest pull wins.
We move the Battle of the Bluegrass Pulling Series to Osgood, Indiana for the Bubba Burger Hoosier Classic presented by Faygo Soda. This is grassroots pulling as the Ripley County Fairgrounds fill with work stock trucks, diesel-powered Dodges, Chevys, and Fords. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ted Jones, along with Tom McConnell, and we're featuring some top trucks here. But you can't have a pulling series without tractors as well, and this evening's class, Outlaw Superstock.
And Outlaw Superstock, a little combination of everything. Super farms, super stocks, limited pros, all battling it out.
With an example of an Outlaw Superstock, let's check in with Kathy Fisher.
Here at the Bubba Burger Hoosier Classic, presented by Faygo Soda. Hey, Faygo Soda's got something else special, and that is our Best Engineered Award. Congratulations. This, I can just tell, the hours, blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into this tractor, and three brothers running together, thus the Brothers Keeper.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we've been pulling about 15 years with this tractor, and been following Bob since they've been on the circuit, so we're loyal to them and we appreciate all they do for us.
This is one heavy tractor here, 9,800 pounds. And about how many horse?
Around 1,300. We're limited on the charger, and so that limits the air that we can flow. So they allow us an extra 800 pounds. We have a 3-inch turbocharger, but we're allowed 640 cubic inches, which is the most in the class. But we are intercooled with ice and stuff, so that helps us to condense the air to get more air through it also. So that's another option for us that they don't have, but we need all we can get because they've got a lot of big turbos there, so we take all we can get.
Well, let's get things started right now with Doug Monroe and his Dodge.
Doug Monroe, an Indiana native, trying to keep the money with the Battle of the Bluegrass in Indiana at this event. Screaming that Dodge, that Cummins is sounding good, Ted.
Straight in for 300 feet, a little short at 276 feet. Let's check in with Kathy Fisher.
I thought about taking all the way up right, but I don't like being one of the beginner hookers. I like going towards the end.
So Kevin Perkins will be our next one, Pretty in Pink.
Our 2013 Houslube Battle of the Bluegrass champion. Love the sound of that growling Duramax. Just listen to it, Ted.
Through one exhaust pipe, 271 feet will not get the job done, but let's take one more look at that with our Houslube instant replay. Look at the smoke come out of that beautiful pink exhaust pipe.
And did you hear him shift from low to high, Ted? And he shifts back to low at the end. This thing is awesome.
Did you line up where you wanted to start with, and the truck just moved you?
It's just a guessing game. This track's tough tonight.
Next up, Bits and Pieces. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Austin White.
Austin White, a new puller, been pulling now for about 3 years. This truck is well overdue for a Houslube victory. Ted, he has got his work cut out for him, and I think, yeah, he's going to take over the lead.
Not quite 300 feet, but good enough to take the lead at 292.38 feet. Kathy Fisher is there.
Was that what you were hoping for, or were you really hoping for a full pull?
Well, we would have liked to have a full, but we'll take it. It seemed to run pretty good.
You better believe he'll take it. Nick Freed is lining up right now, hooking.
Well, one of the things about Nick Freed is he has a long history of pulling, and he's only 22 years old. Tons of young drivers getting the diesel addiction early in their life. Nick's going to come up short.
Had a little problem there at the very end and shut it down. Here comes Cody Hardesty. Bad for business.
Well, just a few weeks back here on NBC Sports, we saw this young man win this thing. He's currently #1 in Houslube points. Destroyed the truck last night, rebuilt it, and Ted, he just took over the lead.
Indeed he did. We've got to have another look at that with our House Lube replay from on board. You're riding with Cody Hardesty down the 300-foot, 30-foot wide pulling course. Kathy Fisher was waiting there for him.
After last night, we broke, so I was just happy to make it all the way down the track.
What did you have to do to prepare for today?
We had to put new gears in the rear end this morning.
And as we get ready for break, we'll take a look at the leaderboard. Cody Hardesty on top by a good margin. This coverage of the House Lube Battle of the Bluegrass being brought to you by Bubba Burger. You'll never bite a burger better than a Bubba. And by House Lube, professional grade performance since 1920. And by Farm Boy brand, be deep and loving it. And by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology. From the Ripley County Fairgrounds in Osgood, Indiana, you're watching the Bubba Burger Hoosier Classic. Speaking of Bubba Burger, let's check in with Kathy.
Last week, we found Bubba Burgers. I just wonder, if there's a special way that you need to prepare them, Andy.
Absolutely. You'll see as the juices rise, you just gently turn it over and let it sit for about 6 minutes, and it's good to go. Delicious Bubba Burger.
Does it matter which of it, 9 flavors?
About 9 flavors. That bacon cheddar is the most delicious new one.
He said bacon.
Yes, bacon. Everybody loves bacon.
Everybody loves bacon. Oh, and everybody loves what's going on the track. Let's check out more of these polls.
All right, Kathy Fisher, thank you very much. Matt Cottrell will be up next with the Cantankerous.
Well, Cantankerous has never won a Best Appearing award, but he's not in it for Best Appearing. He's in it for raw horsepower. You can hear that Cummins humming now. He's got to beat 306. 294's not going to get it done, Ted.
Well, Kathy Fisher is down there. She'll talk with him.
Did you get lined up where you wanted to be?
Yeah, I think so. Just didn't have enough power.
So here comes track marks.
Ben Stramer driving the Duramax. Listen to the growl of these V8s, Ted. I just love the sound of the Duramax like nothing else in motorsports.
The significance, folks, is Dodge against Chevy, Cummins against Duramax, and it looks like Ben will come up a little short at 280 feet. But since it's a Chevy, give them a little more publicity. Let's go on board the sled.
Oh, yeah, taking a ride. You see the box coming up on Dave Hager's sled? And then at the end, when it hits him, watch what happens. The truck says done.
I broke an axle a couple weeks back, and it might be what happened again. We'll find out, I guess.
I'm not hearing anything clunking when you're moving.
Yeah, well, it's usually a straight brake when it breaks, a clean brake.
Damon Trueblood is up next. You see the big hook going on right there to High Anxiety.
Coming out oh so easy. The track's a little gritty, but it takes a lot of power. He's still got a good run going. But Ted, I don't think he's going to have enough on the far end with the Chevy to get it done, and Trueblood's going to come up short.
274 feet. We'll look at that one more time as you ride on board with Damon Trueblood, the House Lube replay. Look at the weights wiggle on the front right there. Quite a bit of weight on the front of this truck, but not enough to get the job done. Let's check in with Kathy Fisher.
Look, I like running Battle of the Bluegrass. My first hook with them. Probably be back for more. Good running trucks. Have a good time.
Here comes Sleepless Nights, John Bartlett. I bet I know how he named that truck.
Yeah, if you're going to be in truck pulling, you're going to have a lot of sleepless nights. And check this out, something you don't see very often. It's a Ford with the Power Stroke. Fords really struggle in this category. Come on, John, keep rolling. Just don't get the RPMs out of those Power Strokes.
Kathy's there.
Don't see very many Fords out here. Why is that?
They're just hard to make power and expensive.
Boy, Ted, that is an honest statement. It takes a lot of bucks to get those Power Strokes to compete with the Cummins and the Duramax. Kalen Dunn now another gorgeous Dodge. Notice he's got the weight brackets inside the grill, so it's got a real stock-looking appearance. That thing is gorgeous, but it's making well over 1,000 horsepower. Teddy's right with them.
With the floating finish line, that's good enough for the #2 position. Kathy Fisher is there again.
You're like 5 feet away. I mean, is that just like, oh, just a little bit more?
Yeah, it is. We could have took a different line or left the line harder. Who knows? I mean, if it's 5 feet.
Let's take a look at our current leaders. You can see, as they said, only 5 feet between first and second place, but we have more work stocks coming up next. You're watching the House Loop Battle of the Bluegrass Series, the Bubba Burger Hoosier Classic, coming to you from the Ripley County Fairgrounds. There's downtown Osgood, Indiana.
Well, you know, we come back here, there's all different kinds of classes that we're seeing, and this right here would be the work truck class, and we see sponsored by Howell's Lubricator, which happens to be the big sponsor for the series for the Battle of the Bluegrass. And hey, Erica, I know you've got a lot to do with this. Are you an original Howes?
I am an original Howes. My father, Rob Howes, is the current president of the company right now. My great-great-grandfather, Wendell Howes, started the company back in 1920. So coming in on the 5th generation of this company now.
And, you know, the product being a big part of this event, I mean, a lot of the guys are using this in all their tractors.
Why wouldn't you use it? It's #1 selling brand in the United States and Canada.
Now, I understand this is your very first poll.
My very first one.
And what do you think so far?
It's very exciting.
So are you planning on wanting to get out and do some of this yourself, maybe?
Oh, if they put me behind the wheel, I'm down for it.
Hey, I'm liking her more and more already. What do you say? We check out more of what's going on.
All right, thank you very much, Kathy Fisher. Well, what's going on is Austin Folks as we continue with the work stock trucks. Another Dodge.
He was your Rookie of the Year last year, and he has, to his credit at this point, 7 Howes Lube victories, and he's only 16 years old. This young man knows how to drive a diesel truck, but he is going to run out of it tonight. Goes over on the other side of the track. I think that's what caused him out there, Ted.
Here comes one piece at a time. The Johnny Cash truck, you might call it. John Trowbridge.
Coming out real easy, trying to slide the clutch to get the truck hooked into the track where it can utilize the maximum power. But Ted, he doesn't have enough power to utilize. He's going to come up way short. Truck's not running right.
Now let's take another look, see what we can figure out what went wrong on that particular pull with the Howes Lube replay from onboard the sled.
Well, you can see that box might have had something to do with it, Ted, because when that box gets to the other end, the sled, the pan underneath it, gets all that weight pushed on it, transfers it to the drawbar, he shuts down.
How long are you sitting in line before you get to pull and do your hook?
Oh, probably 15, 20 minutes. It gets to you. That's the nerves start getting to you.
Tim Tuttle has one of those Chevrolet Duramax diesels.
Well, as they said, the most stressful time for a puller is the time he's in the staging lanes till he hooks. When he hooks, it's all about him and the vehicle, and right now, we're looking at our last Chevrolet in the class. Can they take over the Dodge of Cody Hardesty? Not tonight, Ted.
Kathy's on top end. We'll find out more.
What are we going to do to get these Chevys around those Dodges?
I don't know. It just kind of depends on the track and the sled and the weekend. Some tracks favor Duramaxes, some favor the Dodge. So you never know. It is what it is, I guess.
Well, speaking of a Dodge, here comes Taylor Cooper.
Taylor Cooper, one of the winningest drivers in the work stock category, launching it very good. Now, Ted, he's spotting that sled all the way on the right-hand side of the track, thinking that's where the power groove is. Ted, he's wrong. This guy knows his stuff. He made a boo-boo tonight. It's going to cost him.
And remember, if you touch that white line, you're automatically disqualified, so that's kind of dangerous going over there. Leighton Howe and his Dodge were located at a different place on the track.
Now, Ted, you don't see this very often. He drove this truck into the pool tonight, Ted. You can see the street exhaust, a lot of power, probably making 800 horsepower on the street, but 800 horsepower won't get it done at a pull.
Kathy's with our winner.
There were a lot of trucks in this class, and it almost seemed to have helped of what your draw was.
Yeah, you never know which way the track's going to go, but tonight it seemed to maybe get a little worse as every truck pulled on it, so luck of the draw.
So here's the way they finished up. Cody Hardesty, our winner. Now, Outlaw Superstocks are up next. Kathy has more.
I like cubic inches, and a lot of them, and that's what we have right here, Chad. 640 cubic inches. How long have you been running this class?
We started this class about 2-3 years ago, and we've been doing pretty good here lately. You know, it's a learning curve for us.
Well, you've had a lot of success in other classes as well, and started having some problems with parts. Is that why you made the switch to this class?
Yeah, we ran Super Farm for probably 10 years, and then whenever we broke down pretty bad, we just made the jump, and then it was a good jump.
How many times have you got a chance to run at this track?
We've never ran here before.
Anything different by coming to a different track?
Oh, there's always something different. You can tell a lot just by how hard it is and how soft it is and what gear to put it in. Tonight it looks like it's going to be pretty hard.
This coverage of the Howes Lubricator Battle of the Bluegrass Pulling Series is brought to you by Bubba Burger. You'll never bite a burger better than a Bubba. And by Howes Lube, professional grade performance since 1920. And by Faygo, the original pop in soda pop. And by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology.
Welcome back to the Ripley County Fairgrounds here in Osgood, Indiana. The Howes Lube Battle of the Bluegrass is here for a lot of pulling action, but it's also a part of the Farm Club, Indiana Antique Tractor Association's club show. And tell us what's happening here, Catherine.
This is great. We love having everybody here. We have antiques here. There's antique tractors, all kinds of different things, great food. It's just a wonderful, wonderful weekend we have here.
Well, and tell us some of the other highlights that go on in Ripley County, Indiana throughout the year here.
Indeed. We have the Milan 54 Museum, which is the 54 team is the inspiration for the movie Hoosiers. And occasionally, about once a year, we have the guys come down and we have a bunch of events. Twice a year, we have the National Muzzle Loading Rifle Association, and that's down in Friendship, Indiana, and that's a great time. You can learn how to shoot a muzzle loader, or you can compete, or they have lots of flea markets if you like that.
Well, as you can tell, there's a lot to do here in Ripley County, but we're here for the Howes Lube Battle of the Bluegrass Pull. Let's go hook some tractors up.
All right, Tom, here come the brothers keeper. This is Tim Morris up in Outlaw Superstock.
An Outlaw Superstock consists of 4 tractor types in this one class. This is the brothers keeper, Tim Morris, your defending Howes Lube champion. He is a Super Farm. Big motor, 640 cubic inch, small turbocharger, but weighing in at 9,800 pounds, 301.70. The John Deere fans are gonna like it.
Let's check in with Kathy Fisher.
This class is a little bit different.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of different in the horsepower of the tractors, so we're on the short end of that stick, so we just do the best we can, but we weighted up and had a good straight run, so we think we'll be okay.
Here's another John Deere. He calls this one the Black Tornado, although it's green. Kyle Holland.
Well, the Black Tornado refers to the black diesel smoke that's twisting. When the exhaust comes out, you can't see it, but the smoke actually is turning in a vortex. It looks straight, but it's twisting. John Deere goes up 1-2. A great run for Kyle Holland.
Kathy Fisher is waiting.
You think it's going to stick?
The tractor coming up is pretty hard to beat.
Oh, talking about Jeff Tacken and Logan's Run, worried about that Red International.
Oh, you should be. This is a classic Superstock, Ted. 30-inch wide tires, weighing in at 9,000 pounds, 466 cubic inch, but 2 turbochargers. Listen to it, a lot of air.
Ah, guy takes the lead, 320.33 feet. Let's take another look as you're on board with our How's Instant Replay.
Oh, what a wild run there. Great run for Jeff Tackett. International fans are loving it. He just beat the John Deeres.
Do you think it'll hold with who's coming up next?
I don't know. We got a couple of really good tractors left to pull.
Well, here's one of those really good tractors, John Dempsey. He has an International Harvester. He calls it the Troublemaker.
The Troublemaker team goes back to the early days of the Housloo Battle of the Bluegrass Series. Back in the 90s, they were a threat, but today, no threat at all to Jeff Tackett. They're going to come up short.
As our current leader looks on, Kathy's with John.
So how long have you been doing this?
This is my first year at this thing. So Eddie and them, they've done it for years, but this is my first time.
Here comes Chad Darlage. He calls it the Showtime.
Well, Darlage was the winningest tractor in the Outlaw Superstock last year. Broke a few times, so he came up a little short on the Housloo points. Trying to beat that Superstock. On board with him. Is he gonna do it, Ted? Oh my gosh, 3 inches.
And Jeff Tackett is plenty unhappy about that.
All right, instead of International, should it be Intimidator?
Oh, I don't know about that. It looks like I just had a pretty good run. I mean, everything stayed together. That was the main thing.
We're talking about 3 inches.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
3 inches. Good enough, I guess. 3 inches is just as good as 2 feet, I guess.
Well, not very excited, but I'm sure he'll be glad to take home the winner money. Boy, was that close. We call it the sport of inches, folks. And we have a couple of awards in closing.
The Ripid Energy Fuel Hot Run of the Day. Got to go to Cody Hardesty, laying it on the guys in the Workstock Diesel category, taking yet another win. The Bubba Burger Best Appearing Award. It was just a matter of time for Kevin Perkins to pick that up with the Pretty in Pink.
That'll be a wrap, ladies and gentlemen, for another edition of the Housloo Battle of the Bluegrass. I'm Ted Jones for Tom McConnell and Kathy Fisher. So long, everyone.